Welcome to Aledius Devils Talk. Here's your host, Enrique Aledius.
Welcome back to Aledius Devils Talk. I'm your host, Enrique Aledius, and the Devils come away with a huge victory over the Philadelphia Flyers in the Stadium Series. Finally get a win. I was around when they lost to the Rangers back years ago. Hated that. Hated seeing Marty not be able to win in the outdoor game. But this time around, they were able to win. A big game for them. Just incredible victory there. You know, shout out to just Nico Dawes and how well he played. Nico Hischier gets the scoring started early, like 30 seconds into the game. Thought overall it was just an incredible game. Awesome experience. Really cool to watch on TV. I think, you know, playing in a football arena, I think the crowd being a little further away, I don't know, maybe took away from like the cool atmosphere that, you know, hockey rinks have. But overall, I mean, they packed like 70,000. They have 70,000 strong there. That was pretty cool. Maybe half of them were there to see the Jonas Brothers. I don't know. But it was a good start for the Devils, right? Again, they came out with a lot of speed. Flyers, to their credit, they came out too, and they did put pressure on New Jersey, right? They put pressure on the Devils, and knowing that this was an important game for the Devils. But look, I want to go back a little bit, touch on just how cool of a spectacle this was. You know, I think that, you know, you got Gaslight Anthem to play, and Max Weinberg was there, the whole stadium going dark, right, in the beginning. That was pretty cool. I think that, like, having that spectacle with the Devils and then the Rangers and Islanders and Flyers were there. I mean, Flyer fans, and the Flyers are basically in New Jersey at this point. But, you know, it was just a really cool experience. And I feel like for years to come, they should have more of these, I guess, Hudson River rivalries, right? So I'd hope the next one could be maybe Devils Islanders, but I would like to see another Devils Rangers. That would be sweet. But, like, you know, especially going back years ago where the Devils played the Rangers, that was really cool, but it wasn't at nighttime. I thought what was cool about this was it was nighttime. So again, when the walkout happened, it was all dark, and it just really looked awesome. I really liked that. That was pretty sweet. I'm going to start off talking about first with Nico Dawes. I thought he played unbelievable, right? I thought, you know, Devils fans know how well he's played this season. I think the mainstream media, the mainstream hockey media, they don't really know as much about Nico Dawes as people like Devils fans. And I'm sure if you're watching this, you're a Devils fan. Like, we know how well he's played, and we know how well, you know, he has stepped up with Akira Schmid and Vitek not really playing as consistently this year. But yeah, you know, like, all the questions this year with goaltending, I think Dawes honestly has given himself a chance to be the number one starter, right? Not just for this season, but I think for years moving forward, if he keeps it up, right? It's a task and a really test of consistency. You know, that's what the team's looking for. I think that's what, like, has been an issue with, like, Akira Schmid. He did a great job in the playoffs, but during the season, not that consistent. You know, Vitek last year did incredible for us, but in the playoffs wasn't as consistent. And then this year, he's had a bit of a tough season. He has good stretches, but then he has some bad stretches here and there. So, and you know, you look back over the years. I mean, I'm 31, and so I was here for the entire Marty era. And one of the things that he looks back on when watching him in interviews, and you know, me being like a big fan of his, it's the consistency over the years that he really takes a lot of pride, and he took a lot of pride in. And you also look at, like, Patrick Waugh, you know, Dominic Hasek. It's like these goalies who were great were consistent over a long period of time, and that's hard to do. You know, it's not easy. That's why there's only a couple goalies who's been able to, you know, get a certain amount of wins over the years and over their career. But, you know, Broder did it for, I don't know how many, 20 plus seasons or whatever, right? So that's, you know, again, all that to say, I think I'm so excited to see the future with Dawes, and it's really cool to see him step up in the way that he has. But I think he has in front of him, the task is to just maintain consistency. That's bottom line, right? So we'll see how that goes. But again, right now, and, you know, enjoy it. Like, enjoying how well he's playing is fun, you know, and that's kind of cool to see. We have consistent goaltending, and it's just a confidence, right? There's a confidence back there that, you know, he's gonna make the stops and make incredible stops. He looks like Marty back there with that great, crazy 2 glove saves he made against the Kings or whatever. So that was pretty awesome. But I'm going to start off with, starting off with the game, like awesome, quick goal, gets the crowd in it, right? 30 seconds in the game, really set the tone for how the Devils played. I mean, I thought they played really well offensively. I thought this game, they there was that stretch where they didn't, get a whole lot going, and then there was a boom, like a quick, like what, 2 goals in when they got the third and fourth goal, I think, or maybe the fourth and fifth, but I think there's a third and fourth. But they played really well offensively. I thought they got a lot of chance. They made a lot of, they made the most out of their chances, and I thought they played solid. I think I really was not like disappointed in any way with how they played offensively. I think that it was a close game, even though it kind of looked a little, like as if the Devils had it all the way. I don't think the score is indicative of how close this game really was, because the Flyers they just had that like feel about them that if you gave them enough room and enough time, they were going to tie it up. But the Devils were able to hold them off. And I think on the defensive side, I think there were some just a little bit. I don't think they played bad. I really don't. But I do think that just they had trouble getting it out of the zone a couple of times, and then giving up prime time scoring opportunities in like that slot area. Kind of had, no chance for Nico Dawes on a couple of those where the guy's literally in the slot and you've got like an NHL level shooter right in the slot with a lot of time and really not a whole lot of pressure on him. He's going to be able to, pick the corners there. So, just kind of tighten that up a little bit. But overall, it's not, this isn't a negative game in any way for me by the Devils. I thought they played incredible. And Nico Dawes, in my opinion, stole the show in terms of just how the Devils played. I know offensively they got a lot of goals, but I just feel like there was a big period of time in the first period, beginning to the middle of the second period where had it not been for Dawes, they would have been down. I think it could have been 4-1 the other way for the Flyers, So like I think that it was a really great game all around, and just a couple of things to clean up. But again, defense is young and all that. But I also, one of the things I will say that kind of bothered me a little bit, again, it's just nitpicking. I'm not really concerned, but like the Devils kind of got back into that mode of passing the puck too much when in the offensive zone when they had opportunities to shoot the puck and score. I think they were just trying to look for the better option. And I know I even hate saying this because it sounds kind of stupid. I don't think this is how NHL players work, but maybe it was the stage and they wanted to set up a really good goal, because of the stage they're on and, impress the crowd and all the people watching them or whatever. But I don't know, maybe that's just in my head. But I just feel like there were moments when like Luke Hughes had a moment when he kind of came down, I think it was like the second period, and he was down on the blocker side of Urson and like basically the left wing board, and he could have shot it. And I think he was looking for Jack for that one-timer across the ice. But I just feel like, hey, like you have a chance to shoot it. And honestly, a lot of our goals or a lot of our timely goals this game came from when we would just shoot the puck and then get a lot of the dirty garbage goals in front of the net or a rebound and shoot it, right? And so I'm not sure why they keep reverting back to that, like look for the pretty play, look for that one-timer across the ice, which, look, they can pull it off. Like I think this team can really pull off those really cool one-timer, like especially Jesper Bratt on that like right wing side. But I think, when you're getting production and goals by just throwing the puck to the net and just peppering the goalie with shots, I just really feel like we have at this point the personnel to get those dirty goals with like Lazar, Toffoli, Mercer. I mean, these guys are like, they're good in front of the net. So I just feel like we had opportunities to shoot the puck more is all I'm saying, But again, overall, I just have way more good things to say about the Devils play this game more than negative. I thought they played incredible. I thought, again, offensively, they got a lot of the goals. They got their scoring, scoring touch there, which is definitely something we needed in the game like this against the Flyers because they could be dangerous, with their offense. And I felt like they had a strong all-around game, and like Flyers had their chances, but I don't think there was too many like defensive breakdowns or offensive like turnovers that resulted in like a lot of odd man rushes or whatever that would put Nico Dawes in a pretty difficult spot. I don't think they really had that. I think a lot of the chances the Flyers had were, in tight, and Nico, again, Nico Dawes, and I'll get into it later, but Dawes made a lot of great saves, especially early on in the game. He made a lot of really good, I think underrated saves that had it gone another way, or had he not been able to stick his leg out there in the first period with a couple of those saves, it probably would have been a goal. But I think that the Devils did a good job of giving, Dawes a chance to see the puck for most part. A couple of goals he couldn't see it, and those were the ones that went in. But a lot of the saves he was able to see. He's tracked the puck really well, and then again, I think we're starting to see, once we get solid goaltending, these are the kind of games where, and then our guys are getting more healthy. Again, minus Siegs and Dougie Hamilton there, but we got Jack back. Timo Meier is he's getting back into rhythm. Brendan Smith is back. Toffoli's starting to get on a roll. I mean, Lazar and Mercer, a lot of these other guys, the Hischier, Bratt, they're all starting to play well. They're getting into their rhythm a little bit. It's kind of coming together at a good time, and let's just hope it continues. I mean, it's kind of we have been playing really well since the break, but I don't want to get ahead of ourselves. We're still in the playoff hunt. We're not in the playoffs yet. We're not in the wild card spot. We're still trying to fight for it. So, it's something that we have to keep continuing to do, and we can't get on any schneid here. We have to keep moving forward, and if look, we're not going to win every game, just we saw like we saw in the Kings game, but we can't get into these 2-3 game losing streaks. We gotta, if we lose one, fine, but get two games in, or 2 games back, and we got to get points. I think that's the biggest thing. Got to get points. At least if we're going to lose, push it to overtime. We got to get some points, right? But I think starting in the first period, I like the way the Devils were moving the puck, right? I thought they were really fast. I thought the passes were on point. They were stick to stick. There was a lot of flow and rhythm to each line, meaning they were cycling the puck well. I didn't think people were out of sync, as sometimes this year we found them to be doing that. I felt like they were able to transition the puck really well into the Flyer zone. I thought they killed him with their speed a little bit. I mean, of course, with that Nico goal, he kind of blew past him. But even overall, I thought even Brad had really good opportunities with his legs, and he used his speed really well. It just seemed like they were really, really doing a good job of, using their strength, which is speed, right? Using speed to get behind the play, and I really think that this team is built on their speed, as everyone knows, right? Especially Devils fans have been following the team. This is how we play: is we beat people with speed, and we're not going to be barreling people over. We're not the biggest team, but we are a fast team, and I think I saw that a lot this game. I will say one of the things I really liked about this game, or the past couple of games too, is that even getting back to the Kings game, even when they lost to the Kings, I really liked how they have changed the way they play in front of the net. I think when they're playing in front of the net, they have improved just clogging up that middle, right? And not giving teams just open fire, open range here to just shoot at our goalie, especially on rebounds and second and third and fourth opportunities. They've been able to at least clog up that middle area, the house area, and then just clear the puck out when they need to. I think that's been huge. So that adjustment has really, really helped, especially since the All-Star break, and not letting guys be unguarded in the middle. So that's been huge for us, and it definitely has eliminated a lot of high scoring opportunities for other teams. But another thing in this game too is just when you talk about how fast the Devils are, I think that transition game in this game was really good. When you got guys like Bratt, Hischier, getting that goal that he got, and even Luke Hughes too, right? Just him skating through the zone. This team is just fast, and that's one thing I feel like from last year that I wish we saw more of earlier in the season was that speed that they have. And it's not always about I'm not just talking about Jack, because Jack is very fast, and he is the leader, and he takes the puck. He has that Scott Gomez role to him, where he's the one who takes the puck out and can go end to end. And then Luke Hughes can do that too, right? I mean, although Luke Hughes could be more of our Scott Niedermayer or Brian Rafalski, he's got that really good silky smooth skating to him. But I'm just talking about just in terms of everyone on the team has been really good at transitioning the puck into the offensive zone, which has been huge for us to get some pressure and then be able to cycle puck down in the opponent's zone. So that has been great for them. I think one of the things you have to touch on that hasn't been working well for them has been their power play. Now, I'm not really gonna I don't know if this is necessarily it's bad. I mean, I think the stat line was like we've gotten 2 out of like the last 40 or something, which is not good. But I don't want to harp on it in the sense of like, oh, we're a terrible team because we can't win or because we can't score on the power play. We're winning, right? So that's been good. And power plays sometimes it can be finicky like that. It's just a weird thing. Even the Rangers power play, I don't think has been that great. And they're number 1, right? So it's just a weird thing, but I do think in order for us to kind of make that push, especially for us being a team earlier in the year where our power play was like our weapon, right? With everything else not kind of going well, at least when we hopped on the power play, we knew we could probably get some goals there. I think this time around, this part of the year, it's I don't know, maybe it's other teams being able to get the book on us, or maybe we're also, like I mentioned earlier, we're trying too much to find the perfect play instead of just kind of taking what's given to you. And that could be an issue, right? So that's something from what I'm seeing, in my opinion, from the power play is just like there's not a whole lot of teams have stepped up to us. They don't really give us room to move the puck around, and that's what these guys like to do. Our players love to pass the puck a lot and then look for that perfect shot. And when teams step up on us, especially to our points, that's when we can kind of get into trouble because as good as Luke Hughes and Jack Hughes is, when they're at the point, sometimes they kind of make these plays they like to kind of feather the puck in between the gap in between the opponent's stick and the blade or in his skate or whatever, and sometimes it just ends up going the other way and hits off a shin pad or whatever. But teams have just learned to step up to the points against our power play, our D-men there, or our blue line. And sometimes it causes them our players to have to make quick decisions, which end up being, turned over and things like that. But, I just feel like, in my opinion, just shooting the puck to the net, getting it to the net more is going to help, and again, we're trying to I think generating scoring chances is the main goal of these power plays. And I think the first step to getting us kind of out of that slump is just generate something, right? Instead of looking for the perfect play and only getting 1-2 perfect shots, why don't you just get 7 or 8 or 9 just shots in general and try to, get that, again, dirty goal in front of the net, crash the net, and just chip at it and whatever. It doesn't have to be that perfect one-timer from the side, bar down, right? It can just be, hey, you have the puck at maybe top of the circle, mid-hash, just shoot it, and then try to fight for the puck down low. So, but again, I think it's we're getting goals, and it's been we're in games. Luckily, we haven't really. I guess it has hurt us in some cases, but it hasn't been a killer for us in this just little stretch we've had so far. But we definitely need to improve it. It's not something that we can just sit here and go, well, it's okay. We'll it's fine if we don't get power play goals. We got to get power, especially us in the playoff hunt. These moments when we get on the power play has to be taken advantage of. We have to execute on those, right? Devils have to execute. So, that's that. But honestly, again, I also thought this game was just a really good back and forth between two good teams. It never seemed like, to me anyway, that the Devils really pulled away until they finally got that empty net goal. Right? I just thought the Flyers were really fighting back really well. They were in it. A team that's really well coached with Torts. That you can't just sit back and we almost we almost got ourselves in a bad spot, right? We were up 3-1, and you think that you kind of have the game there. One goal could really pull you away, but then Flyers kept clawing their way back. So I thought it was a good game. We even saw the Rangers, right? They came back with a matter of 3 to 4 minutes and went in overtime. So these kind of outdoor games sometimes I feel like are unpredictable in that sense, where you just don't know, right? It could be the ice that's different. It's just the environment's different. It doesn't feel like a home game. It's just it's a whole spectacle, again, like I said. But we did a good job, and I think that look, the shots were 44 to 35, right? The pace was high, a lot of shots, and Dawes again came up huge, and I think he saved us a lot in this game. But we also got goal support, which is huge. So like I think this is a big win, a really big confidence booster for the Devils. You beat a team with like the Flyers that's really good, and to beat a team like that with the goal support that we did get and the great goaltending that we got. I mean, I'm as a fan, I'm very, very happy with kind of that game and how we've been looking since the All-Star break. So that's a very big positive as we kind of head into this part of the season where we really want to make a push for the playoffs. But yeah, look, last thing here I'm going to touch on, and I'm being a goalie, this is like my favorite part to talk about, but it's got to be the play of Nico Dawes, right? I mean, look, again, I'm a goalie. I grew up playing goalie till college, and I coached goalies and everything. Like I love focusing on like the goalies of each team or whatever. But this season I think everyone was saying just a lot of Devils fans not really fans of Vanacek this year, and Schmidt was inconsistent. So like, but for me personally, I got to say like. For me personally, I don't think a lot of the blame should only be placed on Vanacek. I think the defense and the young defense and losing Dougie and losing Siegenthaler, I think that has a lot to do with just like leaving out Vanacek to dry. But again, he also has to play better if he wants to kind of like stay on his team or stay in the in contention for being a starter here. But like you just look at how Dawes comes in right now, and like no legitimate experience with the Devils in terms of, Vitek played a lot of last year. Schmidt played in the playoffs last year in a really high pressure situation. Dawes comes in with a lot of doubt and cynicism by the fans, by like everyone, because everyone thinks the Devils, goaltending's terrible. So he comes in and it's trial by fire, right? And I thought he's been playing incredible lately. So like to have him play as well he has been really good. And I one thing I really love about how Dawes is playing is the ability for him to track the puck, right? His tracking ability has been like just on another level, and just because he's like, you see it too, right? Like the way he makes, those gloves, look at those glove saves, look at those, like the second glove save against the Kings where he kind of dove and gloved it. But even just when the shots go wide, he's like right there, right? The shot goes wide, but he follows the puck right away. The shots in the scramble, like it hits a guy in front and there's a bit of a scramble in front of him. He locates it right away, and he does a little power push or butterfly slide to wherever it's at. Like he is like really tracking the puck well. He's squaring up to the puck well. He's quick. He's explosive. He's a guy that's not like the tallest dude, right? So like Schmidt's really tall, so he doesn't have to challenge as much. Vitek's he's not as tall as Schmidt, so he's athletic. But he kind of comes out a little too much sometimes. He finds himself a little too further out and out of position after making saves. And Dawes is just coming in like right at the perfect medium of both of them so far, right? He's challenging when he needs to, but he is maintaining his crease and kind of staying close to the blue when he needs to also. He's not overplaying pucks a lot. He's not over committing. He's not swimming in the crease. He's doing a really good job. And also the way he's even coming out and playing the puck, he's very economical, right? He doesn't always come out, but when he does, he makes good plays with it and helps his defenseman out and moving it across. It's just, I think like, especially with the young defense that we have, and look, they're going to make mistakes. And it's something that I feel like I've talked about in other videos. I don't think Luke Hughes and Shimon Nemec were expected to be playing the minutes they've been playing, and not just a lot of minutes, but important minutes, right? Especially Luke, I think. And I thought they've stepped up really well, but you could tell there are moments when they make rookie mistakes, but it's expected. It's going to happen, But I think for someone like Dawes to step up, and he's a rookie too, essentially, right? I mean, he hasn't had a whole lot of NHL time, especially at the level that it is right now. The way he's playing has just been a lifesaver for us, especially again since the All-Star break and a little bit before the All-Star break. So look, I mean, I could be going on a limb and saying this, and knock on wood, I don't want to be jinxing or anything, but there's a lot of talk about getting a number one, right? I think Dawes is making an argument for saying, hey, dude, like I'm the number one, like regardless of who they bring in, Dawes could be the future, especially because he's young. And the Devils historically, I know Lou isn't there anymore, but you got like Fitzy and Brodeur there who they understand that buying a goalie, a veteran goalie, is expensive, and it could risk the develop or the future team, and players you could possibly get in the cap space. It's expensive to get a good goalie. So, like if Dawes can be the guy, right, it's going to save us cap room and you not have to get a Markstrom or, I don't know, Gibson, Bobrovsky, someone, I don't know, like you don't have to get a UC Saros, although I wouldn't be opposed to getting any of those goalies, but still, like, who knows, right? And who knows how well maybe Schmidt could improve while he's in the AHL, and maybe Vitek will find his game again. So, like, it's a lot of different things, but I think right now Dawes is the guy that, in my opinion, he should be the designated starter, right? He has been playing incredible, and here's another thing too that I would add to that. Like, there was a lot of talk by like the media during this game of like, they got to find a goalie, and even if Dawes is playing well, that let's say the Devils still should get a goalie, and it would be a duo, and I think that's the new NHL, right? The new NHL is there's you got to have duos, right? Swayman and Ullmark, Quick and Shesterkin. A lot of teams do, like, it's a tandem now. It has to be. But I do think, like, you got to give Dawes, it has to be a 1A, 1B situation. It can't just be Dawes is going to ride the bench for, 4 straight games and then play maybe 2 or 3 or whatever. Like, it has to be a duo, because I would hate for the development of Dawes to be kind of stunted by being taken out of that rhythm, right? And Marty talks about it too. It's like, I think a big reason why Brodeur says that he found success is because the organization trusted him to be number one, right? It was like, he knew that even if he had a bad game, he was going to be in net the next game, right? It gives him that, ironically, it gives you that, like, ability to play loose and to just be relaxed, knowing that you are the starter, right? So I think with Dawes, like, you don't want to just introduce too much of this, like, hey, we're going to play you, but then if you make a couple a couple bad goals, or you have one bad game, there's this, like, veteran behind your shoulder, and he's going to get the start right away, but it's interesting, right? We'll see what happens. I'm not opposed to them getting a goalie. I just think that I don't want them to ruin what they have with Nico and even Schmidt. Like, I'm a huge fan of Schmidt, honestly, and Vitek too. But like, Vitek's been struggling a little bit, but I'm personally a big fan of Schmidt because of just his size, and if he finds his game, he's going to be a really good goalie in the NHL. But yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. But for right now, I do think Dawes has deserved the opportunity to see if he could be the number one guy for the team long term. I think overall in this game, the top players, I feel like of this game for me were Hischier, Bastian. Bastian had a hell of a game. A little how you doing with the goal celebration there. I thought Lazar had a hell of a game. Brendan Smith, right? Like, he's been. I've got to say, I think I've been convinced that Brendan Smith is great to have on our team early in the season. I was not as big of a fan just because of how he would turn the puck over or whatever, and he would cost us a lot of penalty minutes and bad, shorthand or penalty kill goals or whatever. But he's been playing really well. I got to give it up for him, and he's played really good. Another person I thought played really well was Toffoli. Toffoli, I thought, had a hell of a game. He really had kind of his presence known. I thought he played a really great game there. And last, of course, I got to give it to Dawes. Dawes was unbelievable. 45 saves. It was really, really good. So I think, though, we didn't really get a goal from Jack Hughes, but look, I think there's a lot on the score sheet that guys like him, Nico, Brat, like, particularly like Hughes, right? Like, just because he doesn't show up on the score sheet, in my opinion, doesn't mean he didn't really have a good game. There's so many things that he did to generate opportunities, to generate time on attack in the O-zone there. Just his presence, right? He requires that the other team account for what he does, right? So then that leaves other guys open. So that kind of, is underrated or goes under the radar sometimes. I thought Timo Meier had a pretty solid game. Wasn't as notable in terms of just like on the score sheet or like, being in the middle of it all. But I think he's getting better as time goes by now. yeah, I thought overall they played well. Look, overall, I'm just like I'm really really happy, and I'm just impressed and proud of how the Devils played this game, a big stage, and honestly how they've been playing the past couple games now. Like, look, I'm not one of these fans that thinks like, oh, we have to fire Lindy or that our season's been terrible. Like we're still in the hunt, guys. Like I don't know where. Like I'm not a fan of the narrative that Lindy has to go. Like let's wait till the season's over and then figure out like where we would go in that direction with coaching. But like, look, this season has been a season where we've been hurt by injuries, right? And inconsistent goaltending for sure. But like it's the NHL, right? Like if you look at it, like the Oilers struggled at some point too, and teams like top teams, Rangers went through a bit of a struggle. Like it's the NHL. It's not always going to be. It's not a video game, right? So just because we've had a lot of success last year with a good amount of the same guys here doesn't mean that it's going to be the same thing this year. We lost a lot of key pieces, right, or a couple key pieces, and it's not always just a coach's fault. Like sometimes players have to, they have to play better, and then it's a learning lesson for them, especially the young guys here, right? So it's just we've had the battle, or the Devils have had the battle, and as fans, I don't like the cynicism sometimes of just like, oh, and the negativity. Oh, well, we lose a couple games and we suck, and I'm like, unless we're mathematically eliminated, in my opinion, like this is my way I think about it. It's like if we're not mathematically eliminated from the playoffs, I'm still thinking we got a shot, right? Until we're done, then that's when you can start thinking about like, all right, get rid of the coach, trade X, Y, and Z player and whatever, get this goalie or whoever, right? But yeah, look, we're still in it. I'm still gonna go be excited and be happy to watch the Devils go out and try to make the playoffs, and make a run for it. So, look, this was a really fun game, and it's been a couple past games have been fun to watch. I feel like they're kind of getting their stride back together, and definitely happy to finally get a win outdoors, and sick unis, by the way, too. Like I think that's like a jersey I might want to get, like, given that they won it. I have the other jersey from the outdoor game, but they lost that one, so I kind of feel weird sometimes wearing it. But like it's been a fun ride right now, and I hope it keeps continuing. We keep rolling. Like let's keep it going. Hopefully we can make a good run for it. But yeah, look, great game, and definitely enjoyed it a lot. And hopefully Devils keep moving. Devils keep it moving, right? So that's it for this video. Like, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate you watching if you watched it this far. If you guys liked it, hit the like button. Subscribe for more Devils videos, and I'll hopefully make more as the Devils make a push for the playoffs. But that's been it. This has been Aledius Devils Talk. Thanks you guys so much for watching. I'm your host, Enrique Aledius. Hope you guys liked it, and I will catch you guys later. Let's go Devils.